The next step, after you've used your colored pencils on the enlargement of your layout onto the graph paper, is to transfer it using the graphite method that we've been using all year to a larger sheet of paper. You're going to center it in this area as much as possible. Please don't glue your swatches to this. We're going to transfer it to here, and then we're going to glue the swatches to here. So the first thing we're going to do is grab a couple pieces of tape, like we always do, and I'm putting the tape on my pant leg or my shirt sleeve to pick up some lint to make the tape less sticky. So I'm going to center it on here. I've already done the graphite on the back using the side of the pencil, only where there is something that I'm transferring on the other side. Okay? Don't worry too much about this paper getting a little bit messy or dirty, because we're going to be completely covering it with the magazine cutouts. So I've got this centered in here. I'm using my lint covered tape to tape it to this other sheet. And then I'm going to use a red ballpoint pen to outline those shapes. You can also use a pencil to do this, as long as you press down hard enough, because as is the case with every other drawing we've done this to, it's going to transfer the pencil from the back of here to this piece of paper. All I'm concerned about are the areas where the color is going. So I'm carefully tracing around. It's okay if you overlap these lines, like I did on the stem right there, because I'm going to completely cover that surface of the final paper with the cutout swatches from the magazines. Those of you who are doing citrus, like this lemon, please make sure that you note it's not just a bunch of lines, but these are actually segments of white in between yellow in this case. And there's even going to be different different shades of yellow on here. And again, we use the red pen to show where we've already drawn. You kind of have to be a little careful on this particular kind of paper. This graph paper is actually a little bit thinner than the regular printer paper that we normally use for a lot of our drawings. So I've gone around all of the areas. I'm going to do this little shadow down here also, and add the shadow here also for the lemon. Notice that it has sort of an orange tint to it. Lemons, the shadowed part of lemons oftentimes look like oranges. Before I remove this, I'm also going to use a ruler, or if you want to, if you have a good hand, you can freehand this, because we're going to draw the frame also. It's okay if it's a little shaky. If you want to use a ruler, just make sure that it goes just beyond the edge of the paper. And you can actually go a little bit beyond the edge of the paper too, if you want to go all the way to the end like that. That's perfectly fine because we're going to end up cutting that out. So after I've transferred it, I'm going to carefully remove this. If you want to take a minute to go back over your drawing for anything that didn't transfer. And notice I missed a line right here. So I'm going to carefully go back on here and place this on here. And go over this line also. So the only thing that didn't transfer really well is the shadow area. I can still see an outline or an indentation of where it was that I pressed down. So now I'm going to use this part of my drawing and carefully draw over the lines that were transferred. Again, it's okay if these are sort of sketchy lines because you're going to cover this area completely with the swatches of magazine cutouts. And I'll show you that process on the next video. So I'm just carefully going over, essentially redrawing my drawing on top of this final piece. Everything else is fairly easy to see. There's a little shadow down here, and there's another leaf actually coming off of this one. It goes like this. So I've got all of my areas drawn, and now I can use this and this to cut out swatches of color that are going to get pasted on here. There is currently no color up here, but I'm going to add color to the negative space. That is the space that's around the objects for the background, because I want this completely filled, even all the way up to and beyond the edge. And then we're going to trim the final of this after we've got all of the magazines pasted on here, magazine swatches pasted on here. We're going to cut that out and paste it onto another black sheet of paper for our final.